Good afternoon, friends, and we are back again with our Facebook Live at Apollo Hospitals, Kolkata. Today we have Dr. Devmallo Bhattacharya, consultant hematologist, Apollo Hospitals, Kolkata. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Today's topic, as we know, is hemophilia. So, the question that first comes to our mind organically is what is hemophilia?
Yeah, hemophilia is not a familiar term in the society. Hemophilia means bleeding in the abnormal sites, mostly in the joints. So, patients present with joint bleed. So, this is the hemophilia in a nutshell, but there are many types of hemophilia which will be coming later in our discussions. For all information, information for all, it is that hemophilia is a bleeding in the joints and abnormal parts.
Thank you, doctor, for making us understand what is hemophilia. The second question, again, very organic and very common, that would be, is who are affected the most by hemophilia?
Yeah, because this is a very important question, because mostly males are affected, females are not. There are very rare instances that where we get a female patient with hemophilia. So for all practical purposes, only males are affected because it is a sex chromosome linked disease. So that's why it affects only males.
Right. Are there types of hemophilia? If so, then what are the types of hemophilia seen amongst patients?
Yeah, there are different categories. Like mostly there are two types: type A and hemophilia type B. Hemophilia A means there is a deficiency of the factor 8. Factor 8 is a clotting factor present in our blood. It is a minor small proteins which helps in the coagulation or clotting of our blood. So in hemophilia A patients, the factor 8 is deficient, whereas in hemophilia B patients, the factor 9 is deficient. But hemophilia A is much more common than hemophilia B. And again, there are another classification according to the symptoms or severity. So these are the mild, moderate and severe. So in this COVID era, you must be knowing what is mild, what is moderate and what is severe. So obviously severe hemophilia patients present with more joint bleeds, more complications, moderate relatively less, and milds they may have only mild bleed, or maybe may not be detected throughout their life, only incidentally detected during any operations or any investigations, accidentally or incidentally done before any surgery.
What would be the possible complications that you would see during the treatment of hemophilia patients?
Yeah, in India is a definitely it is a socio-economically challenged country. So we may get many patients who are not actually diagnosed at the in the beginning of their life, because the patients are mostly children, because the children present with joint bleed. So in periphery or in the village area, some quacks or some local doctors they may not be able to diagnose the patient as hemophilia, so they get treatment from the orthopedics. But there is no, as the diagnosis is wrong or not yet done properly, the patients get treatment in a different way. So there may be complications, a persistent joint bleed which makes the joint immobile, swollen, that makes a lots of complications, including in problem in ambulations of the patient. So the patient gets limping. There are many other situations like bleeding in the urine or in the kidney tract, so that there is blood in the urine, or in rare instances they are maybe bleeding within the brain. So these are the all dreadful complications of hemophilia which we get if there is no proper treatment, or better to say not proper diagnosis at the baseline.
Since we are at treatment of hemophilia, how long does a patient require the treatment?
Yeah, that answer is very grim, because patient, it is a genetic disease, hereditary disease, transmitted disease, so there is no permanent cure available till now. So the treatment will go lifelong. So this is the main drawback of hemophilia disease, that there is no permanent cure. It's not like malaria that we give some medicine and patient gets cured. So the treatment is lifelong. So there's psychological counseling, patient's background, financial background, everything is very important while we treat a patient of hemophilia.
Is hemophilia a contagious disease?
No, that is a very important question, because many patients think that if many persons, not patients, the other neighbors or any other society members, they may think that if we sit beside a hemophilia patient, we may get, or there is any blood contaminated with from the hemophilia patients, we may get the disease. No, it is not like that. It is not a infectious disease. It is a genetically disease, so it cannot be contagious.
How much is the financial burden on the family of a hemophilia patient?
Yeah, this is a very pertinent question because many patients in India, many patients are not insured. Many patients may not have other social support. So, as I told previously, that it is a lifelong disease. So the financial burden is havoc because the factors, the coagulation factors we treat for hemophilia are quite costly, and often it is not acting in lower doses. We may require high doses to treat. So the financial burden is very high as per from the cost of the medicine, as well as for maintenance of the normal lifestyles like prevention of the further bleeding, prevention of injury, prevention of or treatment of complications like the patient is having a joint deformities, he may go for orthopedic surgery. So all these complications add to the extra cost of the for these patients of hemophilia.
Are there any socio-economic challenges that you face during treatment of hemophilia?
Yes, sadly saying we face many. We have many examples of some very sad incidents of with hemophilia patients. Like that, some family members abandon because when the family member of poor family having 4 or 5 children, so one son is affected with hemophilia. He cannot live. He cannot walk properly. There are frequent transfusions, factor infusions. So often we have seen that because of the monetary reasons or other reasons, the patient's family may abandon the child, or they are not taking proper care of the child, just taking some SOS basis treatment like that. So these are the social problems we face during hemophilia patient. And also there is the children who, when they grow up, many patients grow up to adulthood doing, otherwise the patients are normal, but they don't have any capability to earn a livelihood. So that is also problem. So they become social burden because they do not earn or they cannot earn. So that is another social challenge.
Do you require help from other specialties for the treatment of hemophilia?
Yes, definitely we need help from three streams, namely orthopedicians, because many patients have joint problems, joint deformity, immobilizations. So these orthopedicians are the pillar of the hemophilia treatment. And again, physical medicine doctors, physiotherapy technicians are also important. Good quality nurse who will access the venous system and also preliminary counsel the patient is also important. Physiotherapy is also important. And lastly, we need a psychological counselor, psychologist counselor, that is also important, who will motivate the patient, give them hope for the next life, how, and also to make some rehabilitations for the patients. So we need many other social NGO supports also at times for hemophilia patients.
What is called the comprehensive hemophilia care?
Yeah, in Western countries there are many centers who cater the comprehensive hemophilia care. In India, there are few centers who do this comprehensive hemophilia care. Comprehensive hemophilia care is all types of treatment facilities under a single roof. So where the patient comes, whether the patient may be newly diagnosed or the patient may be a chronic patient, in those scenarios there may be teams of doctors and nurses who will guide the patient, like the consultants like us. They will tell the patient about the treatment and advise the dose of the medicines, clotting factors whenever required. But there are other roles of the other persons, like the nurse who will counsel and who will do the venous access, because veins are very important. The medicines can be given only by the intravenous route. So veins are getting punctured day after day, so there will be damage to the veins. So that is also important. A good trained skilled nurse is also important. Along with that, there may be physiotherapy, you need orthopedicians, you need counselors, like that. So that is called comprehensive healthcare. There are all types of facilities or modalities of treatment available under a single roof.
Well, it's time to conclude our session today, but we really thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya, for sparing your time and talking to our audience here. I'm sure we'll have more questions from our audience and we'll get them answered by you. We look forward to another session that is similar to this, and we hope that everybody stays safe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.